Hi everybody, wanted to give you an update on tomorrow late afternoon and evening storm into Tuesday. We're looking at a pretty good sized snowstorm here. There's been a lot of questions over time as to whether the storm was really going to make it all the way into northern New England. It's looked locked in for southern New England for quite some time, but it does look, all the models have trended much closer to the coast with the low, and so it looks like we're in for a pretty substantial snowstorm here over southern Vermont and really most of New England. So it's a pretty good sized storm. So let's look at what's going on right now. This is going to be a longer duration event than we've seen for a lot of the storms lately. We can see here is the initial storm, which has been bringing snow all the way up into Pennsylvania today, which is starting to actually die out, and you can see that this area here, you can start to see a little bit of spin and start to see the clouds increasing here as our secondary low pressure system, you can really see it on radar, starts to get going off the coast. Storm, this is a very classic, one of the two ways we get nor'easters a lot of times, or really three ways, but this one is when we get kind of a dying storm here over the upper Midwest or over the kind of Rust Belt states that redevelops off the coast. Another is that you kind of have a low pressure system here along the Gulf Coast that rides up the coast. Sometimes you also have the other one that is sort of a clipper system that redevelops off the coast. But this is one of the, this and the one that rides kind of all the way up the coast are kind of the two most classic nor'easters. It's a very classic setup. We actually haven't had anything like this kind of a classic setup yet this winter, even though we've had some big storms. Oftentimes they've been not kind of more just different kinds of setups than this one, which is a very, if you look up nor'easter under in a weather textbook, this is one of the two scenarios you would look at most of the time as a very classic type of storm. Called a Miller type B storm for those of you who are really nerdy. On radar, we can see that the radar echoes are starting to die out here with the initial storm. But then you can see we really got the radar is really starting to pop here over the eastern North Carolina and Virginia, South Carolina. We're getting lots of moisture involved. And what's going to happen is this storm develops, it's going to throw this moisture back to the northwest and come in our direction. Now, because the storm is moving slow and because it's very cold and dry here over New England, this is going to take a lot longer than you would normally expect. I mean, it looks like, now none of this is making its way to the ground here over northern Pennsylvania, but it looks like the snow is maybe 10 hours away. You'd say, boy, it's going to be snowing by tomorrow morning. But it's actually going to take a long time for that snow to eat into the dry air. And also the storm here is going to have to really get going before it starts to throw moisture in our area direction. So I don't think we'll start snowing till tomorrow afternoon, probably 2 to 3, 4 o'clock for most of us in southern Vermont. And then accumulating snow probably by 4 to 6 o'clock tomorrow night, we start the accumulating snow. It's going to take a little bit of time. And if we look at the surface, we can see why that's going to happen. Obviously, you know it's cold. That means we've got high pressure. It's very sunny. This is the piece that we haven't had for most of our storms yet this winter. We have a cold, high pressure, Arctic high pressure in place and a storm approaching. And what's going to happen is this high pressure is going to lift off to the west, but it kind of creates this block, which really slows the progress of this low pressure system up. So this low pressure system is going to develop here off the coast, or is in the process of doing that right now. It's going to slowly ride up just southeast of New York City, and then across kind of Cape Cod before it kind of redevelops yet again. It's almost going to stall here and then redevelop again, and so the storm will take a long time to finish snowing. The heaviest burst, I think most of the accumulating precipitation happens in about an 18-hour period from 6 p.m. Monday night through noon on Tuesday. But light snow could continue, and maybe even some light accumulating snow could continue through the rest of the day Tuesday, even into Tuesday night. Certainly by midnight Tuesday, I think most accumulating snow should be done. What are we looking at accumulation totals wise? Yeah, so for us here in southern Vermont, generally, most of us are going to see 5 is probably unlikely, but most of us are going to see a general 8 to 12 in the lower elevations and up to 16 for the mountains, basically 10 to 16 for the mountains. But you can see some more kind of the finer details. Basically, a little bit more snow the further south you head than north. Probably a little bit more snow to the east of the Green Mountains than to the west, although subtle differences. And then your elevation, your favorite snow spots will get a little bit more, which means these Southern Vermont, your Southern Greens here, your ski areas, your Mount Snow, your Stratton, probably even up into Bromley, certainly. Is there places where you're going to get your probably foot to foot and a half of snow for those ski areas. And Okemo here as well will also be probably maybe not quite as much at Okemo, a couple inches less, but probably I'd say foot to 16 inches, 12 to 16 inches for that. And even Killington should definitely get at least a foot of snow out of this. So that's what we're looking for snow-wise. In terms of details, precipitation starts by mid-afternoon on Monday, long duration event. Snow could continue through Tuesday afternoon. Most accumulating snowfalls from 5 p.m. Monday through noon on Tuesday. Total accumulations 8 to 12 inches for the valleys in general, 10 to 16 for the mountains. It's going to be powdery. No power outages should be a problem. It will be breezy, which could lead to some blowing snow, but not really windy. Not windy enough for power issues, just for some blowing snow. It'll look very kind of Arctic and wintry out there on Tuesday, especially in the morning. Visibility could be tough. Tuesday morning driving will be really tough. But it should be getting better by the afternoon. But really Wednesday before it gets to be, before roads start to get really cleared up. Snow by town, just in case you wanted another way to think about who's going to get snow, you can take a look at that. Gives you an idea of where you are location-wise. If you're near one of those towns, add an inch or take an inch away depending on where you are. But generally, like I said, most places 8 to 12. A little bit more for some of the elevations and maybe some of the far western areas in the like up in the Champlain Valley. If we get northwest of Rutland, a little bit less, and maybe a little bit less as well for kind of up in the Lebanon area. So anyway, that's what we're looking at. If you have questions, certainly feel free to ask in the comment section of this, or send me a Facebook message. I'm happy if you've got specific travel questions or anything like that. Happy to help out with that. Also want to say a thank you to my patrons who help support what I do here. Give them a shout out, and if you want to get all my forecasts, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's the easiest way to do it. And I will be back tomorrow morning with a look at the work week forecast, and we will heavily focus on the storm. So you'll get my next update on this storm. Tomorrow morning we'll have another round of models to look at and really be locked in numbers-wise by tomorrow morning. All right? Until then, I hope you're staying warm today. Hope you get to enjoy some of the sun today, even though it is very cold, and we'll be back tomorrow morning.